why are we at a rest stop in the middle of friggin' Oregon?
We were a week near Portland, Oregon, because Larry, believe it or not, has another kind of rare syndrome, and this is not related to his MS. We left Reno, beelined it to Portland because OHSU is a teaching hospital.
We were looking for somebody that could really figure out what's wrong with me instead of just a local community hospital.
And a teaching hospital has access to every possible specialist.
And all the tests.
And every test you could think of. High tech. So we spent one night in Weed, California, but we actually did something. We saw Mount Shasta.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But the week we were in Portland, we basically just took care of business.
So we pull into Portland at night. We get up at 5 o'clock the next morning to head to the ER because we didn't want to have any lines. And we actually saw us pretty quickly and got into a room. And we spent the day in the Portland ER trying to figure out what was wrong with me.
Yeah, I left about 5 o'clock that night, and Larry, they said, we're going to take him to observation for the night. So
I was hoping at first to be admitted, but they stuck me in ER observation, which is just like a hospital room, but it's called ER observation. The reason they had me in observation overnight, because they wanted to do an upper endoscopy and they wanted to schedule it for that next day, which they did. I had my upper endoscopy. And then they kept me for another night because they had to do another test for ultrasound. The end result is that I've been diagnosed with a condition called MALS. And MALS is a median arcuate ligament syndrome. It's basically a ligament that presses on my celiac artery that feeds the blood to my stomach and my small intestine and my colon and all that stuff. And it is restricting the blood flow and is causing pain when I eat. Whenever I eat, it wants that blood flow and it doesn't get it. And it's like, oh, we're gonna hurt you to let you know that something is wrong here.
And the reason why the ER and really wanting to get admitted is because Larry lost 20 plus pounds in 3 weeks. And we really thought they would pound him with nutrition and work on that weight loss. Yeah. And we thought we were going to see all these different specialists. We did see a vascular surgeon, couple general surgeons, couple vascular surgeons.
We did see a team, which is cool.
A team of GI doctors.
A lot of it was that hospital, that teaching hospital kind of atmosphere.
Lots of tests.
It wasn't nearly as good as Shands at Gainesville. They discharged me on Thursday. They had set me up for an appointment with the vascular surgeon the next day, which we thought we were going to get the vascular surgeon.
Schedule surgery.
He's going to schedule some surgery and get me fixed so I could start eating again. But more tests to be done. The vascular surgeon, we met with him, and he was really cool.
Yeah.
But he said there's another test that has to be done. Basically, they have to use a pain specialist and numb the celiac complex. That solves my pain. That's one more test that proves that I have this condition called MALS and I need the surgery. There's a surgery that basically obliterates that nerve complex, like resects part of the ligament that's pressing on my celiac artery.
Before we saw the consult, they did another ultrasound because the one that was supposed to be done at the hospital was done, but it didn't do what they were supposed to do, so he had to have yet another ultrasound.
When I either inhale or exhale, it pushes pressure onto that celiac artery and really restricts the blood flow. It turns out now that I realize I have 70% stenosis that means basically that hole is closed, 70% that feeds the blood to my celiac system. So that's not good. So you can't live like that. I can't eat. Like on the trip here, Alice was feeding me one bite of banana every hour. But I could barely tolerate that.
The biggest problem is that the doctor said it could take a couple weeks to even get the pain place to see the referral. Then it could take weeks to get the test, and then it could take weeks to get the surgery.
Right.
So
we'd be looking at months before we get the surgery in Portland.
Monday we got to the campground. Tuesday through Thursday, he was at the hospital. Friday, we do the outpatient appointment. So Saturday...
with the vascular surgeon.
Yeah. Saturday, we were sitting around, what are our options? What do we do now? Because this is not what we expected.
So one is stay in Portland and wait it out, kind of camp out in Portland and get the surgery there. Probably be months. You were worried that we were going to be there all winter.
Well, the other thing is I was bothered that they never addressed your nutrition in the hospital. He got 500 calories from them in 2 days. Even though, believe me, I was insistent.
I have no appetite, so I wasn't reminding them. It's like, hey, you guys should feed me. I wasn't even thinking about food. I had no appetite whatsoever.
So I'm not feeling confident in that hospital. They never addressed that he has MS and that this could cause problems with his MS.
Yeah.
So,
and you didn't like that campground either. She did not like that campground.
I didn't like the campground. I don't like the Portland.
We did find some
traffic.
place we were parked. We could have stayed there for months. So that was kind of out. Alice is like, hey, let's not do
Plus,
that.
I don't want to possibly drive back in the winter. Stay there in the winter or drive back to Florida in the winter. If we want to get back to Florida, how do we get back to Florida? Well, one is, like a lot of people said, they said fly home. Well, our home is actually in the parking lot right there.
Yeah.
So flying home would be flying back to Florida and staying in a hotel for weeks, maybe months.
Which we were going to use the FMCA. So
Yes.
I got on the computer, looked up FMCA. We're members. I emailed them. They sent me an application back. I did that whole process, and we submitted that on Saturday, but we didn't hear anything back
Until Monday
immediately.
morning.
Does our medical condition qualify for them to fly us back and to bring our RV back?
But this is where the problem is. It could take, what they said, a week or more just to find a driver. And then to get that driver to schedule it could be a week. And then they could take up to 20 days to get the RV back to Florida.
Right.
So that would be weeks, months in a hotel.
At least weeks, but I'd be back in Florida quickly.
Yeah.
The third option is obvious. It's just get in the RV and book it back to Florida as fast as possible. I didn't feel great, but I felt healthy enough to drive. I can drive no problem.
Yeah.
My whole problem is not my brain like it used to be.
No.
It's my stomach.
Yeah.
And the problem is that I'm dropping weight fast. That doesn't affect me driving. So I was like, you know what? Let's try it. Can we make it in Florida in like 10 days? It's 3,000 miles.
But the other thing is what we're doing while we're on the road is we're coordinating with all his doctors at UF Health Shands in Gainesville and seeing if they can take all the test results that we already have in the system that they should be able to access so that when we show up in Gainesville,
Right.
we can see a vascular surgeon, maybe schedule it right away. Because the other thing with FMCA is they actually made it sound like it's actually better if you're there when they pick up the RV and the truck. They would have to take our truck.
So we would have had to wait around at least until it got picked up, I think. Today is Monday.
Yes.
So we get an email back from FMCA basically approving me
Yeah.
to
We
fly
didn't
us.
think we'd get approved.
Well, I didn't think so either.
Yeah.
Fly us back. They would have somebody pick up the RV,
And
drive
truck.
it across the country. So we messaged them back and say, hey, we're already booking it back to Florida. We're going to do our best to get there.
Yeah.
But
If we need you.
if I go south and whatever, something happens where I just can't travel anymore, then we're going to have to go with the FMCA.
But we're
plan.
already approved. That's
We're
a great
already,
thing.
We're already approved. So they probably think that we're crazy. Like, what are you guys doing? You just decide to get in the car and go?
Okay, couple things. One, we have no place to take the RV to tell them where to tow it because they want to know where to tow it, and we don't
Right.
have that yet. The other thing is, you tell me, when you're sick, like really sick, don't you want to sleep in your own bed than to sleep in some hotel for weeks or possibly months?
Yeah, Alice and I really went through all the different options, and we said, you know what, let's try and book it back. She agreed for me to drive as long as I possibly can and stay awake, and then stop, and then drive as far as I can. We'll see if we can get that back there in 10 days or less. That's our goal, to get there in less than 10 days. See, we're about 300 miles into this right now. When we stopped here at this rest stop in Oregon,
We kind of wanted to get this out of our system because it's been,
Yeah.
we've been thinking about it while we're on the road, and we
we
just want to concentrate on getting back. And it's also, Florida is our home state. It's our domicile. We're familiar with UF Shands. We're familiar with Florida. Our kids are there so they can help. So a lot of people said just get home, get with family, and you're right, even though they can't help us move the RV. But I think we have enough friends in Florida that if we really needed to move around, we could.
yeah, the question is, why are we filming this? Like, why are
Yes. Yes.
sharing this? Why are we taking the time? For one, I needed a rest anyway. I got to stretch my legs. And two, we think this is a really important story for people to know. Of all the things that we've shared with people,
Yeah.
I think this is one of the most important, because if you're going to travel and maybe your health isn't that great,
No,
what happens? What do
no,
you do?
You could be completely healthy,
Yeah.
Larry. This is a disease that has nothing to do with his
Yeah.
MS that came on overnight. He thought he had a stomach bug at first, and then he thought maybe he got some gluten because he's gluten sensitive. So this could happen to anyone.
Yeah.
You could just be on a couple months trip far from your home base.
But what do you do when you're
Yeah.
3,000 miles from
Yes,
home
yes.
and you realize you need to get home?
Yeah.
Well, we don't have a home, but to get back to our home spot, our home hospital.
Home
My
hospital.
I don't have a home. I have a home hospital.
Yes, home hospital.
I got to get back to my home hospital. So what do? How do you get there? You got to make these decisions,
Yeah.
and this is tough. So we're sharing this to everybody because we are sharing this as we do it.
We got a lot of offers for people to drive our RV for us and
Yeah.
us fly back.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same thing. One, we'd have to, we'd
Yeah.
have to stay in a hotel for a long time. And Larry is definitely someone that he doesn't like to ask for help. The only reason why I got people to move the RV before is
I
because
out
he
of
was
commission.
unaware of it.
I was unconscious.
I asked
basically.
for the help. Larry doesn't like to ask for help. And we definitely appreciate everyone's
Yeah.
offers. It was
Yeah.
it was
Speaking
so
of that,
sweet.
Doc Chris is actually the one that helped us at the Portland hospital.
Yeah, he drove me because I had such an anxiety attack.
Portland
leaving
was so congested, she didn't even want to come to pick me up at the hospital. She had Doc
With
Chris
a
do it,
dually.
which is why it was good that we were close to Chris.
Yes, he helped.
But so I will accept some help if you actually really force me.
No, you were in the hospital. You had no choice in this. I said I was calling Doc Chris, and he's helping me pick you up from the hospital. So you didn't even have a choice again.
So the question is, are we making the right decision? I don't know.
Only
wish-
we can decide because
Yeah.
we're the only ones.
So for right
Yeah.
now, we're making the right decision. We're making it across the country as fast as we can. I got it in Road Trippers to put as many miles behind us as possible.
Yeah.
I'm
Wait, I
glad we
need
kind
to-
of got this out of our system.
I need to double check to see if there's anything else we needed to say.
Is there anything else? While I've been driving, she's been making notes and figuring out what we want to say, because I really feel strongly about sharing this because it has been very stressful on both of us, and we didn't come across this decision lightly. I didn't want to leave Portland, man, but I got kite surfing 30 minutes away that I'm skipping out on.
I think that's the hardest part. We haven't done a whole lot of fun in the last couple of weeks because
Yeah.
Larry hasn't been able to do it. Two, there's not going to be a whole lot of fun on the way back, which is not like us. Because if you saw our other video on running and gunning, we still tried to do fun stuff. And
Yeah.
this is just,
Yeah.
let's just get back
We're in
to our...
survival mode. Larry
Yes.
is about 150 pounds right now, and I'm usually in the mid 170s. So
180.
yeah. So and I'm losing weight fast. So I got to. Can you tell I lost weight? Do I
He's
look
kinda-
thinner? Do I look thinner?
He's
Or do
cheap.
I look awesome? Do I look awesome? Like, that guy is not sick.
I think that was the problem with the hospital is they just didn't listen to us
Yeah.
about his weight loss or
But-
his MS. So.
But what do you think? Are we doing the right thing? We'll find out. Maybe we'll keep doing this. We'll keep sharing our story, bombing across the country.
That'll be a whole nother video. Just keep checking the community tab. That's where I'm
the
putting.
community tabs. That's right up to date. That's like what we're doing today.
Yeah, and I'm kind of gonna back off on Instagram and Facebook because I just can't keep up with everything, which is really sweet. But I don't have the energy. Thank you, everyone, for all your well wishes and your offers. We're gonna go back to our Crazy Across America. Oh no, that's
Crazy.
over.
It's back across America.
We no, now we're on
Return? Is it
bat.
return?
It's either bat or rat. Back across America or rush across America or return across America. Yeah, we actually are no longer filming CAAT, but we still have some CAAT videos to put out.
Yeah, we're not going to be doing any cat fun on the way back. It is just run and gun and go. Sleep, go. Sleep, go.
Caffeine.
Caffeine. I can take caffeine. That's a good thing.
So,
But no coffee.
So if you don't know what we're talking about with the CAAT tour, we'll put a link down below. But if you don't know what we're talking about with Larry's rare,
We'll put a link to a
MS.
playlist right over here.
Yeah.
And remember, downsizing does not make sense.
Right now, I'm glad we do have a smaller rig, actually, so downsizing does make sense.